This is Real Race Talk from Texas. It's the Revved Up Sports Show. Here's Bobby Chaffee and Rodney Rodriguez.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show that started it all. The one, the original, the home of real race talk, unfiltered, uncensored. This is indeed the Revved Up Sports Show, Monday night special. Showtime, Bobby Chaffee right here. The Iceman, Rodney Rodriguez, that's that man over there.
Hi, guys.
Coming off a very wet and eventful weekend, depending on what racetrack you were going to. An eventful, somewhat eventful race at Talladega for the big boys of the NASCAR Cup Series. And a nice, wet, and wonderful, muddy weekend for the boys in Supercross in New York City.
Why you keep saying wet, dude?
I don't know.
It's like okay. I'm like wet.
I know it didn't even hardly rain at my house.
Well, I got to tell you guys. So I was actually over at Padre Island over the weekend, and we were driving in yesterday. And for all our friends in Corpus Christi, guys, you were getting hammered. You were getting hammered with rain. I couldn't see where I was going. I actually thought about pulling over a couple of different times to where it was like, dude, it was bad. I mean, it was bad. So Corpus friends, be sure and check in. Let us know how many inches you got
of rain.
And man, because that was a lot. It was quite interesting. I saw folks like I was telling you over there around Staples and all that area. I saw a couple of cars that looked submerged in water, and we're driving along, and my wife is like, "We might have to pull over." I'm like, "We got the dogs with us." I'm like, "No, I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep on." You know, I had the wipers on full blast and everything. We finally got through all of that, and here we get home, and there's nothing going on. So anyway, same old thing. But I know our friends there along the Gulf Coast probably got hammered by rain. And I got to tell you the other thing. I know I talk all the time about Corpus and all that. As I was driving on the way down there, obviously not on the way back because I couldn't see, I saw a lot of places where we could build a 3/8 or half-mile asphalt racetrack. Corpus is the place for that. It really is. I mean, it really is.
Well, you don't take away from the race ranch, though.
No, I mean, that's great. I mean, the Race Ranch can do what they do. I just think that we've seen it in the past, and now, you know, we sit and we watch these guys, you know, race along the coastal parts of the country. I just think that's a place that can sustain, because Corpus can sustain both. We're over here in Austin and San Antonio and Houston and all that. We struggle. We've never been able to do that. Corpus makes us all look bad. But anyway, that's
never been able to sustain one, much less two.
Yeah, no doubt. On the show tonight, coming up in just a matter of maybe about 11 minutes or so, Trent Dixon, youngster, winning a sprint car race at a very young age. That is the son of Brad Dixon. He will join in coming up, and then Justin Whitehead will jump in and talk a little bit about his weekend and talk about something big that's really coming up. I'm sure that you guys all saw that on the old Facebook. And then we talked to Jamie Campbell, one of the old school dudes that's still out there just hammering away. We'll talk with him, and we've already got a Let's Go Corpus right there. Seriously, that is the place. That is the place to do it, man. Let's get that paved track up and running. And that's the whole thing. As I was driving down 37, Bobby, I get over there to Agnes, and I'm looking over because I could see the press box over at
Used to, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it still there, or is it gone all the way now?
Unless my contacts are really bad, I think it's gone.
Because it wasn't looking real promising the last time I was over there.
Well, I know that it was still there. It was still there about a year and a half ago. I think the last time that I actually went by there and looked. I know when I went to the race ranch the last time, I actually didn't go over there to Flato Road and take a look. That's one of those things to where it's like, do you really want to get out there and just kind of make yourself sick and go look? I don't know, dude. It's sad. I mean, it's sad that place is gone. It sucks. I mean, that really sucks.
It was a fun place to race. I mean, even though I didn't win the race, my one and only race down there, it was the most fun I ever had in a race car. Was running there at the with the high five. But yeah, it definitely was a unique place, a tight little racetrack. But I mean, it was just. I mean, I've seen damn good racing there for years, and it wasn't even a local. It's just you go down there for a family vacation. You go down on a Friday afternoon, spend the night at a hotel. Get up, go to the beach, eat lunch, get sunburned, go to CC Speedway, spend the night, get up that next morning, go back to the beach, get a little more sunburn, get in the car, go home, go to school the next day.
That was always a cool part, going to Corpus. I mean, I remember I went and ran that big race in 1995, and that was, at that point I had only raced at Longhorn, when it came down to it, and it was, okay, it's a quarter-mile track, what? How different could it be? And we go over there, and you get the half mile, and like I was talking about, I remember my first vivid memory of CC Speedway was we go out there for hot laps, and we're pacing around under yellow, and I come out of turn number 2, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go up on the banking. I want to see what this looks like. And I come off and I drive it down under yellow, and I look up going into turn number 3, and there are these eyes looking at me, and it was like one of the strip joints. It was one of the sponsors of the racetrack, and it's like this beautiful girl with red eyes and everything. I don't know what the place was called. I'm sure that some of our degenerates that are checking in right here will know the name of the place. But it was always, that was kind of, and it was, I remember that race. It's like, okay, you're going into turn number 3. It's like lit off where that girl is. It's like, I think I know where her eyes are. I'm gonna let off here and try to turn this lead sled around. But I just really, so many different places that I saw. I'm like, Gulf Coast. I mean, I traveled the Gulf Coast, and I'm like, we could have some asphalt racing here. But yeah, I know that's a pipe dream, but that's what I do. I dream of stupid shit, and I'll keep doing that forever.
Yeah, there's lots of places that a racetrack could go. Obviously, we need to support the asphalt track we have. Number 2, we need to make sure that if we get another racetrack, it's under the right circumstances. I think we don't need 5,000 people donating $5,000.
It was on Everhart. I knew that. I knew, and who is it? Rusty Rooster. Yep. I knew he'd be the one to know. I know the name of the place. I'm just baiting you guys to put that out there. If y'all don't put it, I went there, for crying out loud. Anyway, so it's funny how you get folks to remember their great memories. And that was the thing. Like you said, Bobby, it always was going to CC Speedway. It was, I remember one of my one of my favorite memories of CC Speedway was, I think it was that 93 race, TIDA, where you had Umscheid and John Kelly and Slick and all of them. And it was a very cold beginning of the year race. Charlie Heflin
won that race, I think.
Won that race. Umscheid was on his lid, Slick, and all them. They all.
And in 92, I think it snowed.
Yeah.
It snowed in 92 too, because I remember going down to that race. It was the first time that TIDA had been to Corpus in years. You go into South Padre Island Mall, and then you come out, and it's like snowing. And you're like, oh, shit, It's snowing. Yeah. What are we going to do?
And that's why I think, I keep going back to the whole thing with Corpus. Imagine that. There are so many cool things I think that could happen. And this is where I think right now the Race Ranch is in such a great place to where they have that leverage right now to utilize that Texas Gulf Coast thing. It's a destination spot, and because it really is. And I knew this, but I didn't realize it until I did it this weekend once again. To actually go down there, go to Corpus, pass through there, go to Padre Island, go to Mustang Island, go to all of that is right there. And I think that's something to where the Race Ranch is sitting there to where I really think that they can do some really cool stuff.
Yeah, I think that it's got an opportunity. Obviously, it's got a new, for lack of a better term, a new lease on life, so to speak. Yeah. With the new ownership down there, which still we haven't necessarily heard who it's going to be or who it is, but that's fine. It doesn't matter who it is as long as the place stays open.
Well, and I think that's the main thing, that it's somebody that wants to keep the place rolling and wants to keep it active in racing competition. That's really the bottom line right there is what you want in a situation like that. And again, this is where we need to go back and we need to look who hits the name of it. Alan Alexander. I would never guess that Alan Alexander would know the name of one of those places. God, I'm going to confession for him. Are you kidding me? Alan Alexander, the man right there. Speaking of that, I want to give him a call.
Was that on Leopard Street?
No, that was another one.
That was another
one.
That was
a
Leopard
different
Street.
one.
Okay,
that was a different one.
Cheetahs on leopards. Okay.
Yeah. You had cheetahs, and then you had the other one. So he may have missed it. He may have them crossed up. You got to remember, guys. It was a girl, and she had her eyes covered. It was like this. and it was in turn 3. All you could see was her eyes. Her face was covered. I went to the place. I went to the place. Simply because I was
just for sponsor relations.
I wanted to support CC Speedway, so I went over there and probably paid a lot of money for beers that were overpriced. But that's, I mean, even back in those days, I was just a racer, a visiting racer. I wanted to support the track sponsors, and that's what you guys need to do. When you go to a racetrack and you see a track sponsor, go support them, even if it's not one of those places.
Oh, Cheetahs is on SPID.
That's the one. That's the one. I mean, it's now Cheetahs. I think at the time it wasn't that. But we'll have to, at some point, we'll have to roll back on one of these, because I know that YouTube video is somewhere of that old 1995 race that we all had such a grand time at. And
best damn race ever. In my opinion, it's still the best one.
That really was. That 1995 Texas
The original Texas
Stock
Stock Car Spectacular.
Yeah.
Probably the best race, I would say, of modern day, which is kind of weird.
Still,
I mean, you throw out Texas World, but as far as like everybody coming together, it was literally the best of short track racing in Texas, all coming down to Corpus Christi Speedway, where you had San Antonio late models versus Longhorn Super Stocks versus Super Street Stocks from San Antonio, Super Street Stocks from Corpus. All of them, they finally worked together to get the rules worked out where they could all run the same rules, or within, weight breaks and whatever you wanted to do, but they found a way to make the rules work. And as a damn good show. I mean, you had the best of the best down there, and then you had Brandon Bentley and old beat up Chevelle whooping everybody's ass.
Don't say that. David Sevilla is going to come through that screen. that car, that really was cool. That really was cool. I mean, that class, because it was, you had those super street stocks or whatever you want to call them that were out there beating, and this is where everything is so jacked up right now, where we're talking about what Alan is doing with us at Mobile, with the Haas series, with the Hercules Oval Street Stock Series, the Sportsman, to where that race back then, you had the rules were somewhat the same, but you had like Chevrolet Luminas and the aftermarket Grand Prix, and then you had the Chevelle that you're talking about, the Sevilla Chevelle that Brandon was kicking everybody's ass, and you had the old school Camaros. I mean, you had all of that, but basically underneath the rules were somewhat the same, and I think that's what we're still here trying to get back to.
Somebody should pull the rule sheet from 1995.
1995. I've got them. I've got the rules that Brian Calloway and Irvin Brighton. How about that name? That's one that we.
That's somebody we should get on here.
That's one that we need to get on this show, because that dude could talk about some good stuff. But we can revisit that. We'll go back to that. That's back in the day stuff right there. But we're going to the hotline for the first time this evening. Out with the old, in with the new, but a little bit of maybe a little bit of old school with this successful weekend for this young man as he punches the ticket there in the sprint cars, winning at 105 Speedway, jumping on the hotline for the first time ever. It is 14-year-old Mr. Trent Dixon. Trent, how are we, sir?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing well, man. Thank you for taking the time and being a part of our little program this evening. Trent, if you wouldn't mind, before we start talking about this past weekend and everything that you're working on now, tell us, obviously we know your dad very well on this show, but tell us how this racing journey started for you.
Well, I got a go-kart whenever I was 3, and I didn't really work on it much, so I didn't get to drive it. And one day I came home, and I started taking the motor off, so my dad let me ride it around. And we had these 2 trees that I would go around, and he said if I spun out, I'd have to put it away for the whole day, and I couldn't drive it anymore.
Oh, my goodness.
So I started getting good, and I wouldn't spin out. And then he raked all the acorns around it because we were around oak trees, started spinning out again, and eventually I just got to the point where I could just run around the track without spinning out.
Nice.
That's one way to do it. So now did your dad, Brad, did he force you into racing, or since you were around it since basically the time you were born, is it just something that you knew you wanted to do? You had fun in a go-kart, and you're like, well, let's see. Let me move up to this faster go-kart. Let me move up to this go-kart with wings. Let me move up to this sprint car, to this IMCA modified or sport mod, junior limited, whatever. Was it something you always knew you wanted to do, or did Brad force you into that?
He didn't force me. I grew up around the track, and so kind of just wanted to do it. He came home with a cart, and just all fell into place.
Oh, man, that's awesome. That is awesome. So, talk about Trent for you. How cool is it? So much, for we older guys, and I know for a lot of the youngsters, and your thoughts, so much of why we do this is the family time. You with your dad and all of that. That really is kind of the basis of why we get out there and go to the racetrack and just do what we do. It's about hanging out with family and enjoying the sport that we love so much.
Yes, sir. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So, Trent, I got to watch you a little bit progress down there at Texana Raceway Park. Saw you win a couple of go-kart races, and saw you kind of put yourself into, running a couple of races in a junior limited eco mod, whatever you want to call them. And then all of a sudden, man, you start popping in this sprint car. I guess it's a 305 sprint car. So how did that transition? Actually, how did the conversation go, especially with your mom being like, hey, I want to move from a go-kart sprint car to a full-blown sprint car? How did that conversation go?
So I moved up to limiteds whenever I was 11, and those got really expensive because I learned the hard way and smacked the infield tractor tire. I had to get a new box. And they just got a lot more expensive, and so we got offered to drive a sprint car, and then we decided to buy it and see how it is, and it all just worked out well. But conversation went pretty good. She seemed happy about it.
Yeah, well, that's the main thing.
They got to keep Mama happy.
Got to make sure Mama's happy. So, talk about the weekend for you. How was it for you when you realized, that you're going to win this race? And I think you're probably the youngest. I know your dad and I were kind of messaging. You're probably the youngest ever to win in an IMCA sprint car. The feeling as this was about to happen for you.
It was amazing for me. It started out with a great night, won the heat race by a good stretch, and went into the feature starting on the pole, and I'll admit, I was pretty dang nervous. But I just ran my race, made consistent laps, and pulled away. Yeah, and I saw that white flag, and I was like, yes, I might actually win this thing.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
So how'd the party go? Was it lots of root beer after that, or was it just in shock for you? What happens after you win that race? You got excited on the white flag. I'm assuming you got just as excited when you saw the checkered flag.
We went to Denny's after the race, and we enjoyed some breakfast food.
Not as good as a Waffle House, but a Denny's is a good, solid second place. That's good.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
That's good stuff. So, Trent, obviously you found your place right there in that 305 sprint car. What else is that going to be what you're doing this year, or are there other opportunities there? I think that you're probably opening the door for more opportunities. What all is in store for you guys, and particularly for you, the rest of this year?
We plan on just keeping in with the 305 and plan on running the Lone Star 600.
Perfect. Lone Star 600 tie-in. So now that you won in a sprint car, you going to try to get your dad to allow sprint cars in that race?
That would be neat, but it's kind of dangerous, but we probably do that.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah, no doubt. So Trent, talk about all the folks that make this happen for you. It's obviously a family effort, but it sounds like for this, there are a lot of other good people that have put you in a really cool place, and you're taking advantage of it. Talk about some of those folks.
I'd like to thank Kinko Bucket Trucks with Team Gone Again. Mm-hmm. He's an amazing sponsor, Kenny Mongol. And I'd also like to thank Sandy Weld, Neil Manchester, Entertainment Company with Tim and Jackie Looney for making so much possible. Broaders Marina with John Few, Renegade Race Fuels at 105, H&R Air Conditioning, Tom Richardson. Runs around with Kent Lewis Sr. a lot. Enjoy hanging out with him. Access Medical Clinic with Bobby and Lori Wisdom. FCA Motorsports with Donnie Schubert. EB Parts Company with Clint Leopold. Southwest Metals with Brian Brand. And I'd like to thank Kent Lewis Jr. and Sr. for guiding me to be with all their years of sprint car knowledge. They have been fast for 40 years, so I listened. He finished second with me, which was amazing because two mainly best friends finishing first and second in the sprint car.
Love that.
That's crazy. So what kind of advice did they give you? I mean, obviously Kent Lewis Sr.'s been running forever. Anything that can have wheels on it, he's kind of like Howard Willis, running and winning everything forever. What kind of advice does he give you? I mean, number one, is he shocked? I mean, do people get shocked that he's like 75 and you're like 14 racing 1-2 over there? That to me would be just an incredible experience in its own right. But what kind of advice does he give you?
The main advice they give me is to have fun and just learn. They tell me every time I hit the track is seat time, and seat time's just learning for me this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, that's the main thing, and you're taking full advantage of that. So I do want to ask you before we cut you loose, Trent, how was it at the end of the race? I mean, I know that, when the races are over, the fans come down to the pits and want autographs and pictures and all that. Did you have a lot of folks that came down and were wanting to shake your hand and do all of that? Was that a pretty cool after the race part for you when the fans came to the pits?
Oh, it was amazing. I had so much people down there. Some of them I didn't even know, but they were still nice.
Yep. I think there he is. Go ahead, Trent. Sorry about that.
I was just saying it was amazing. It was a really fun time down there.
Yeah, I love it. That is super awesome, my friend. You done good, and I know this is just the beginning.
Yeah, save some hero cards for us, so when you get famous and all that, we can tell everybody that at one point this future superstar was on our radio show.
That's for sure.
Yes, sir.
And when you get those shirts, 2 extra larges. Save them for us. You may already have them. I don't know, but man, we would love to wear those. You done good, and tell your mom and dad, or tell your mom and dad hi. Good stuff, man. Super good. Good job.
Yes,
all right, buddy.
I definitely will save y'all some, and I'm also going to win the Lone Star 600 this year.
Oh, there it is. Called it out.
Look at that. Oh, man. You heard it right here. You guys are going to get your ass kicked, or your tail kicked by my man right here. I love that, dude. We'll have to have you on right before that so you can remind them of that, my young friend.
Yes, sir. I will.
All right, Trent. Be well, my man, and keep doing it, dude. Proud of you.
Sir, I will. Thank you.
Take care. Here he goes.
You too.
You bet. Brad told me he was shy.
I know, right? Brad said he was shy and was nervous. What? I mean, I could tell the first couple of questions he's a little nervous, but he's damn sure not shy.
No, not at all. I mean, that right there. You guys, you older guys need to learn how to have a conversation like that. I mean, that was well done right there by that young man. Even if you here's a news flash and a peek behind the curtain, like at the Wizard of Oz. Boom.
If you know you're going to be on a show, and it's a radio show. Luckily, it wasn't Zoom today for Mr. Dixon over there. If you know you're going to be somewhere and talk about your sponsors, write them down. Read them off one by one, and the people you want to thank. Nobody's going to see you doing it, and it makes your sponsors really, really happy that you get to name drop on there.
And that's a lot of people ask me why we don't have folks on Zoom. I always give both options. I mean, I do when I'm looking to ask people to come on this show, and most people usually take the phone option. I mean, I totally get the Zoom thing, and that's okay. But I will tell you for one thing, this show is live. LIVE. This show is live. So from our standpoint, to have Zoom on and all that, it's a challenge, but it can be done because we're that badass. That's right. We piss greatness in the morning, so it can be done. Okay. Did I just quote that movie?
It's piss excellence.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, so close.
Okay, well then, okay, that's a revved up. That's a revved up quote right there. We piss greatness is what we do around here, but it's a challenge, but it can be done. But so many times when I talk to guys, they're like, I would just rather call, and I totally get that because it's a little mind boggling to do this, and I know last week, we had a young man on that, and I talked to his dad, and he's like, man, he had everything scripted. But he was glad that he wasn't on camera because he could shift. And, I mean, it is what it is. But again, we are live. We are not taped. We are not, we're not editing anything. If you get on here and do whatever, if you get in, you say the F word, when we podcast it, you going to say the F word because I ain't changing it.
That's right. If you happen to be listening to this very show, right now it's live clearly, but if you're listening to this show coming up in a couple of hours, couple of days, couple of weeks, on the podcast version, it's you just know this damn show was recorded live and you're going to listen to it unedited just like it was when we recorded it live.
That's it. This ain't Sanford and Son or the Jeffersons or any of that. We're not going to go in and pull shit out. It's going to be like right there where I said shit on the podcast. It's still going to be there. But anyway, great stuff right there. A great young man, Trent and Brad Dixon. I love that. And when I reached out to Brad, he's like, yes, I mean, that would be great. And how about that? I mean, a 305 sprint car. And I truly believe he has to be the youngest. I mean, at 14 years old.
One of the youngest for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And if he's not the youngest, I guarantee you that there are some names in there that you all probably know really well that are right there with him, and that's super cool. I do want to talk about Justin Whitehead coming up in about 13 minutes or so, and he's confirmed.
Really?
That's right.
Damn. All right.
That's
His
right.
people talk to our people.
Yeah, me and him talked. I've had some messages about everything going on at I-37. There was a carburetor issue apparently that came up there in the factory stocks, and I've had people ask me, what's the deal? Man, I don't know. I wasn't there. I was on the beach. I honestly didn't even know they were racing this weekend. I was purposely trying to take off that week, but there's questions coming up right here about the carburetor thing. And apparently, it's going to be people outside of my pay grade that are going to be able to, and yours, that are going to be able to answer that question. I don't know. I would assume that rule is a box stock 4412. I would assume. I know there are ways to manipulate. I was telling you earlier how we did ours back in the day, and it wasn't at the pictures that I saw there. But I don't know what that's all about. But if I-37 has gone in and made a decision, I'm assuming at some point that they're going to release why that was. But I can only guess that if we're into Monday and that race was Saturday evening, that there's been extensive research and extensive tech or whatever. And I know folks are going to disagree, but I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, I really don't know how to answer any of that, to be honest with you. All I know is that the couple of guys that were there at the front of the thing that all I know is Alan Torres won the race. That's all I know.
Yeah, after the top two got DQ'd. Put on a hell of a show though.
Yeah, look,
and Popstar man Workman over there getting better and better with each race, dude.
Hey man, that's a tough job. That is a very tough job, and it's going. And there's I'm seeing there's pictures already there. Man, we're in so many different. There's a thread with pics. I don't know. You guys feel free to explain to us. And honestly, I wish that this would have happened. With a little more time, I would have invited I-37. I would have invited those folks to come on here. But the whole thing is, when I saw this, we're about an hour away from doing the show. I'm not going to reach out to them and be, demanding or proposing them to come on here when they're not ready to explain all of that yet, because I know that's a lot. And the whole thing is with the carburetor thing. I mean, my first thought when I saw that some guys had gotten DQ'd at I-37, my first LOL thought was, oh, Jack Sandifer's on duty at the I-37 out there getting after that. So, I don't know.
4412 is what the rules say.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, 4412.
Cast Holly 4412 2-barrel, no HP, carbs or parts, must be unaltered. I'm assuming that's where the issue becomes, unaltered potentially, but I don't know.
I totally get with one of those. You can take a butterfly off. I mean, I don't know if it says in there about removing butterflies. I mean, I know you can do that. I know you can change the jets. I know that. I know there's a lot of things that you can do, because I can tell you, my daddy spent good money on a carburetor, on carburetors. You know, I mean, a few times at racetracks that are no longer with us. In classes that are no longer with us, we would change a carburetor that showed up at our place, and my goodness, I couldn't believe how much quicker our car got just because we changed carburetor, just because we put a different air cleaner on, for crying out loud. We changed the air cleaner and we gained
pink radiator cap. That's what it is.
We gained tenths of a second by changing the radiator. We would wash our K&N air filter out, and my God, that car got so fast.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was. I don't know what happened here. And again, not pointing fingers at the two drivers right there that were victims of being thrown out are our buddies.
Yeah, they both been on the show multiple times. One was just on.
It's a matter of. Wait for them to explain what the deal was, and again, here's where we get back to something that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. Call Ray or whoever's doing whatever over there. Call them. This is the best part of being able to do this on Revved Up tonight, is we can kind of extinguish this a little bit to where let's not go in there and be like.
Well, we ain't seen the thread yet, so we don't know how far gone it's gotten.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things. I've been in that place before. I know when I've gotten thrown out, I'm like, I'm never going back. And that's back in the old days, to where it was always, we would tell them we're never going back. We didn't have the Facebook and all that back in those days, where we could go in there and do all the other things that happen right now. And there it is right there. There is the word right there. An altered carburetor.
Altered carburetor.
Altered
From
carburetor.
the man himself.
And there's your question. Altered carburetors. And I think it doesn't really need to be, well, what did they do? Did they go in there and do this? If the rules he just read say that you can't alter it, it's like we're talking about these louvers and all this shit, where people are getting all bent out of shape about, wow, NASCAR, blah, 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 blah. It says you can't change them. And it sounds like that was the case here. And again, not a slight against Jared or Johnny. It sounds to me like I-37 is just trying to hold
black and white.
Right.
First sentence: unaltered carburetor.
Yeah, box stock, and that's where we get into the whole discussion when it comes to where we've talked about where asphalt has gotten out of shape and there, and again, I mean, you guys feel free. We can discuss this. I mean, we've got things to do tonight, but this is a place.
No screw in air bleeds, also on there too. I'm not technology enough to know what that.
I know what that is, and that's that's something that can be. That's the gray area. I mean, that's the gray area where things can get a little. I totally get it. I totally get it. But this is one of the. This is a place where we can have a discussion. And again, please do not get on here and beat the racetrack up, because when we talk about this on here, it's a place for open discussion, and you guys can discuss on the forum. We've had many times where there are things in question, and they've made a little more sense in here, with folks just posting it, and Ray is posting right there to kind of talk about that. Add a screw in, air bleed, and an added bushing. Both car owners were extremely respectful.
That's good news.
So there is no reason that anybody else needs to be raising hell. If the car owners were not okay, he said respectful. let it be. Let it be. It's done.
That's it.
I mean, it's done. It's done.
Track made the call. The car owners are, I mean, I'm sure they're not in agreement with it, but respectful. That's a new word we don't hear a whole hell of a lot nowadays, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
And the track promoter, there it is. That's it. No more bitching, none of that. Everybody involved is content with it. Time to put it to bed. No keyboard warrior on that deal.
And that's where it gets so hard, because there are so many spots and gray areas and different places right there to where, I mean, you can kind of test the waters. I mean, we were, I think we were talking about this on the Saturday show, you know, in regards to like NASCAR and all that, to where things are there and you can kind of test it. You can kind of test it and kind of push the limits just a little bit. But at the same time, when you push the limits, you need to be prepared in case you push it too far. And there's nothing wrong with trying it. And again, being respectful, and it goes back to what we've been talking about with Cotton Bowl and all that. Don't beat the racetrack up. I mean, they're just trying to do whatever they can do to be as fair as possible, and that's hard. I mean, that's really hard. I mean, there's a lot that goes on out there, and I mean, I applaud them. I applaud Ray and I-37, and again, at the same time, it sucks for Jared and for Johnny. I mean, like we said, those are all friends of ours. I mean, and we're not sitting here trying to push the envelope. This is the place where you can get the true as to what really happened.
And that's good. I mean, that's what we want. That's what it works about. So, I mean, you know, like I said, no disrespect to Johnny or Jared. I mean, they are. I mean, I talk to Johnny every time I see him at a racetrack. Say, you know, usually tell him good job. You know, hell of a race, kind of deal. Same thing with Jared. So, you know, I think it's just one of those things that just, you know, DQs in racing are going to happen. It just depends on which side of the fence you're on about it. Sometimes you're happy that the guy in front of you got DQ'd. Sometimes you're unhappy that you're the guy in front that got DQ'd. So.
Yep. Those things happen, and again, everybody's going to move forward. And the main thing is, hopefully, there for I-37, as I'm sure that it will. They're going to continue and have a great season, and this is one of those things to where, I mean, there's a question answered right there. We know, you kind of know what the precedent is with that when it comes to that call right there.
Yep, definitely one way to put it, and you know, there you go.
Yep. All right, let's go back in. Let's hit the hotline one more time as we dive in right here. Excited to talk to this guy, and hell, we can get his opinion on this. I'm not sure if he knows the ins and outs of what we're talking about, but it is our man, the great Justin Whitehead, checking in. Justin, we're kind of debating rules back and forth over here. We had a call in South Texas to where the racetrack had to make a tough call on a factory stock deal, and really tough for the racers and the racetracks to have to try to police that rule book.
Yeah, I've been on every side of that. Obviously, as a promoter and a race car driver, I've been on that side of the carburetor rule before. They just gotta figure out what's right and wrong and just stick with it. But we're probably sure what's going on. I know Johnny and all them real well. It was just an oversight. Most of it, all of us, just buy our carburetors ready to go. It's not like we take them apart and start doing things to them, because none of us know a dang thing about a carburetor. So it was just an overlooked piece, I'm sure. So they'll fix it and move on.
No doubt.
So, Justin, how hard is that to when you sit there and talk about being on both sides of the fence, which, you know, everybody wants to be an armchair promoter, but not everybody gets a chance to do it, right, or wants to do it. Is it one of those things in a racer perspective too? When you make a call and you stay consistent with it, in theory, that's going to make more people want to come race for you, right? Because you follow the rule with the black and white that is written with the intent it's written, right?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to be on. You know, I know how it feels to sometimes we DQ people for stuff that doesn't really matter, but I have to stick with that call. You know, no matter what happens, especially when I promote a race, because, you know, my tech man, you know, I'm hired. I got so many friends and family that race with us, you know, I got to stay unbiased, you know, I got to stay completely out of it. So sometimes you do make some tough calls, and you just kind of got to stick with it and, you know, just stay consistent, like you said.
Yeah, that's really the main thing, and that right there. I mean, the track's doing what they have to do. So, Justin, let's dive in here. Talk about you with the weekend. Looked like a busy weekend for you. Walk us through everything that you just accomplished this weekend.
Yeah, we ran second again to Kyle Cummins. he is got his stuff on fire right now. He's really got us working on our stuff real hard to try to find some speed. Boot Hill track was awesome. They had a little long of a night, but it was the first night out, and they had 170 cars for one night, and they was kind of trying to get everything lined out. And the electricity also went out on them for almost 2 hours, so they had a heck of a delay. But I mean, it's part of it, new night deal, and they can't really do anything about that electricity. But all in all, it was a super good night and had a really good time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I watched that race with the delay. I mean, it was late at night, but you guys put on one hell of a show. So did the sprint cars. Sprint cars put on a pretty good race there too. When you race that late, do you change anything? I mean, are you still get amped up when you get in the race car, or do you have to do anything different to get fired up for that main event when you race so late? I mean, I guess age matters, but not really sometimes, right?
It's a little tough. I got a bed in my trailer now, so we're trying to maybe squeeze in a nap if we can. But no, as soon as you get in the car and you get on the track, time really is irrelevant. You don't really think about it. It's the trip home that really hits hard. But on the racetrack, no, you don't really do anything besides watch the track real close and hope it doesn't change too much on you, and just do whatever changes you need.
So, Justin, I mean, a guy like in your place, I mean, driver, promoter, businessman, I mean, all that. How do you balance all that, dude? I know we've had a lot of folks when they talk about, I don't want to race my customers and all this stuff. I mean, how do you do that?
You do have to race differently. I am very fortunate. I can call myself a fairly clean driver, so I really don't run into a whole lot of incidents. And I dang sure don't try to get in the incidents with people, obviously that are customers. But I try to avoid them all, at best. If I make contact with somebody, it's usually, just racing. It's completely on accident. So I think I've built that reputation up enough that I really haven't ever run into that issue. I did run into it once this year on my YouTube channel. You can go watch that at ORC Racing. We have a little YouTube series we've started and trying to roll through. But we had an incident earlier this year with one of my customers, but I'm pretty sure he's still mad at me. But I mean, if they're going to be mad, you kind of got to let them be mad. There's really nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So, Justin, before we start talking about the Mike Parker Memorial deal that you've got coming up, I want to go back, I guess now about 6 weeks, almost 2 months ago, go back to the race in Edna with you and Johnny.
Oh, yeah.
That was one hell of a race. It was an honor to call that race, watching you guys race back and forth like that. The question that Johnny kept bringing up, and the point he was making, is he was totally shocked and surprised that only 24 cars showed up for a 24 cars showed up for a $5,000 to win factory stock race, and nobody knew why. Any reasons in your mind why you think that only 24 cars showed up for a purse that big?
Man, that 7-hour ride there probably had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
That's a haul, and everybody from around here is about that same 7 hours. Nobody else is really any closer, and guys around here just aren't the travelingest bunch. I mean, 2-3 hours is a stretch for most guys. So once you get that far away, it gets tough to draw 'em. I mean, it was a beautiful place. Cord's doing a great job over there, but it was a long haul for sure.
Yeah, and Justin, how great is it along those lines that we do have, with the factory stocks precisely, is that I mean up north, up where you're at, and even in North Texas, and you've got different groups. I always say Waco's the dividing line, but man, no matter where you look, I mean down south, the factory stocks everywhere. Up north, factory stocks everywhere. That's a good problem to have, man. That's a
good
thing.
combination. Rules have tried to divide us with this tires and stuff, but I mean, we're just doing what we can to keep it all, as close as we can. I personally kept a set of pull-offs and a set of American racers. Pretty much anything rocket and down for me is pretty much pull-offs.
Yeah.
So I've hung on to those. It's nice to be able to go that far in race, and it's tough. I mean, I think we took a motorhome down to Edna, and I believe we spent nearly $500 in diesel. That's a real good chunk, there and back. I mean, don't get me wrong, we had a home to stay in for 2 nights.
Sure.
We didn't have a hotel, so you can take that into effect. But a motorhome don't get much better fuel mileage than my truck I pull with.
That's for damn
So,
sure.
I mean, it's still probably $350, $400 for a normal deal, to go down there. And then you got to get hotels and stuff. So, I mean, it's not cheap to go, but we try to support, as many of the big ones as we can. That way they keep happening.
That's right.
So speaking of big one, Mike Parker Memorial, man, that at Arklatex, that I got to see part of that winning share, that purse. That is a good looking purse, and it's probably going to get more added to it between now and the time now in June. Talk about this this memorial race you got popping up here at Arklatex.
Yeah, it builds. It usually, once the sponsors start kind of kicking in, it kind of creates a snowball. But I just threw that pull-off deal out there just to see if anybody would do it, I guess, just to spark the interest. And then today I added the groove to pull-off option kind of out of nowhere. I was just trying to give everybody an option that I think the groove pull-off will be as good as the American Racer, and then it'll give the racer the option, if you got a grooving iron, you can save yourself hundreds of dollars, and bring those. The groove tire doesn't get the bonus, but I mean it's still $7,036 to win, and so the guys that feel like if they're at a disadvantage, I do think the American Racer will be able to hold up. Kind of hoping we're trying to shift to get the groove tires into the rules.
Yeah.
That's kind of the idea with the pull off. I don't know if it'll happen, but just give somebody another option besides buying it's like $179 for a tire by the time you buy it.
Yeah. So how's it been? I mean, just as that came out today, I mean, how's the response been? Have you had folks reaching out saying they want to do it, or how's it doing early on?
Most of them are joking with me and told me I done gave them too many options. Dalton Faulkner, I think, posted on my post or commented on my post earlier and said he really hates me right now. He said he didn't know what to do, but the racer and some of us will try to go for that 12,000.
Hell yeah.
But some of them, won't. Obviously, I don't have to make the decision. I'm just the one that made it hard on them.
There it is.
I'm really just trying to get, as many cards as we can. Obviously, that's the goal of promoting. We're going to make a real good effort at getting some non-qualifier stuff this year. We already got 2 sets of shocks to give away from CRS Suspension over there with Jeffrey Abbey. Ronnie Humphreys gave us 40 bags of his Pro Glow to give away also.
Nice.
And Lane Smith over at 1-3 Designs has given us a side wraps for factory stock. So we're slowly getting stuff to. My goal is for everybody that makes a show to leave with something, and those bags of wash will sure put a dent in that. But that is the goal. I've learned that it helps to give that stuff away. I used to do it a lot and kind of got a little burnt out on it, but I'm gonna try to get back heavy into that. This is really seems to help the show. Yeah,
no doubt. Good stuff, man. I'm gonna keep following this. Like I told you today. I mean, we can talk about this tonight. We'll continue promoting this. Let us know how to help this.
Yeah.
Man, let's kick some ass on this thing. I think this really be some good stuff.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. Good luck rest of the year, and let's stay in communication and do some good stuff.
Yes, sir. If you need anything else, you just holler at me.
You got it, man. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, Justin.
There he goes.
Thank you. See ya.
You betcha, man. Justin Whitehead, and it that right there is going to be. I think that's going to be a pretty damn massive race. I mean, here let's pull it up again one more time. That $7,036, and then went on the NASCAR pull-offs. $12,036. That's a lot. That's a lot.
A lot of people are going to go for the 12.
Yeah, and I mean, I really think that's
be smart for that race. And I've always, we talk about different classes running together at the same time on racetrack. They should find a way to put either on the front bumper or on a sport. Did they run spoilers on a factory stock?
No.
Across the windshield, maybe somewhere they need to put in like a color duct tape, something that has the guys on this tire are on this color and the guys on that tire are on the other color.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That way the fans can distinguish, oh hell, this guy's going for 12, this guy's going for the 7. That way there's a way that you can tell from the grandstands exactly which car is going for which amount. I think that would add to the excitement of that race for damn sure. Yeah,
and then get the announcer to talk that thing up and maybe free that weekend. But go in there and I mean talk to. I don't know if I am or not, but that looks like there's a great announcer in place there. I'm just kidding, but that's going to be really good. That's going to be really good. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money right there. And what else can you say about Justin Whitehead? We talked to so many guys on here to where he has that other hat on where we talk about the guys where it's like, we do it on asphalt and dirt, where it's like I don't want to race my customers, but this dude is out here promoting races, out here promoting and doing, giving back, and so many racers are so quick to go and call the promoter down and beat them up or whatever. But this is a dude. He knows every aspect of this, and to put this show on and then go out and do what he does. I mean, that's a real deal right there. That Whitehead, that's a bad son of a gun right there.
Yeah, I mean, all the stuff he did, and it does make sense though. Now that we've heard from a completely different aspect about the car count. For us, I say close, right? We're within 3 hours of Edna.
Yeah.
I'm within 2 hours, and maybe call me biased because I'm down there all the time and I announce, and I appreciate what Cord Nolan and them do. Down there at Texana, but I guess
totally
I didn't realize
sense.
that it made more sense that that's a 7-hour ride from Texarkana. That's a hell of a long ride. And I guess when you come, there's such an influx of major talent that comes up from that region. That's a long way to go. But the problem is they were set up to come for the fall race. They didn't come to the spring race, but there's a hell of a lot of them that were set up to come to the fall race.
Well, and this is where I can go to the race at this most recent one that we're talking about. And again, great car count. I mean, 24, 25, whatever it was is great. But a lot of people that I talk to, it's like, oh, why would you go? He's going to be there. We just talked with him. Faulkner's going to be there. I mean, all these guys. There are plenty of racers down south that could go there. And I totally get the track alliance. And the other thing that I heard for a lot of guys was, or about a lot of guys, like, well, they don't want to tear their shit up before the season.
They didn't tear up a lot of shit.
They didn't. The race was really good. And this is kind of backing up what Justin's talking about there. What we asked him is, talking about all of the folks up north, into Louisiana and Arkansas and all the different places over there and DFW. There are plenty of really badass racers down south. I think that could. I get the home track alliance. I totally get that, but. Maybe expand the wings and fly a little bit. I mean, change the gears. It's not that big a deal. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that was a thing to me when it came down to the Texana race. I was thinking about our southern quadrant, because I do it, and I'm calling some of the Waco guys out too. It's like where to me that's the equator. The equator is Waco, because it's kind of the one to me, north versus south. And it's like I was thinking of a lot of guys. I'm like, well, I would have expected blah 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 blah. And no, but that's okay. Luckily, the good thing was for Cord and for Owen and for Texana, it was a good race. I know they were disappointed in the car count. They haven't told me that, but I know they were. I know they were, because you would think that at that point of the year you would have gotten more. But that's another discussion. But like we're talking about there with Justin, he's out there, he's pounding the pavement, he's doing things right there, and I love his motor promoting right there, where he said, like Faulkner telling him, I don't like you right now because there are too many options. That's good, because most of the time there are not enough options, hence the carburetor thing we just talked about. So hey man, I love it. That's going to be a great event. I'm looking forward to that Mike Parker Memorial.
Maybe we're on to something there. Maybe we ought to look at a north-south shootout for factory stocks, maybe somewhere in the middle at the equator, say heart of Texas on a Sunday afternoon.
How about that? Selby, Big Mike, call us. We'll help y'all with that. They're going to be like, okay, y'all set it up.
That's right. $20,000. Here you go.
Yeah, y'all have at it. Good stuff right there from Justin Whitehead. Good stuff earlier from our man Trent Dixon, coming up, talking to one of the old school guys. Talking to a dude not quite as old as I am, but he's been around for a bit. It is Jamie Campbell. It's hashtag Real Race Talk, hashtag Show Day, hashtag Unfiltered. It is the Revved Up Sports Show from Texas. Stick around. More coming up. We're live.
Hey racers, Phil Whipple here with the Revved Up Sports Show. For the past year, you've heard us talking about our partners over at Generation Race Cars. I'm proud to say they're back again this year, and they're off to a great start. Generation Race Cars, located in Springtown, Texas, continues to offer new chassis body combos all the way to turnkey sport mods and limited modifieds. All cars are built the same as you've seen in Victory Lane with drivers like Alex Hickam, Jeff Shepard, and Dean Abbey. All customers are valued and treated equally, so why not join the winning team? Justin Long is committed to giving each and every customer the time they deserve, along with a commitment to bring quality into every build. If you're ready to join the team, give the guys over at Generation Race Cars a call today at 817-528-2947. You put a lot into your racing program, so why not take it to victory lane with Team GRC?
All right, back at it again on a Monday evening. Special thanks to Trent Dixon and Justin Whitehead for joining us on the program here. Lots of insightful information from Justin. Always love it when he comes on. Gives us the ins and outs of the promoter, the plight of the promoter, the racer, all that good stuff. So lots of good information. And our boy to Trent Dixon, the shy kid who didn't seem shy when he came on. Definitely a chip off the old block there. Following right in his daddy's footsteps with his little bit of wild and crazy raciness.
Yeah, really, really good stuff right there. I do want to mention, of course, for all our friends along the Mobile sector out there, we are racing this weekend at Mobile International Speedway with the official season opener coming up on Saturday. Really cool stuff right there. You'll have the Haas Sportsman, as I'm going to be calling him. That is the Hercules Oval Street Stocks. Looking forward to that. Alan Alexander and them doing a good, really good job. I got some information. We had some folks over from Montgomery that were out testing over the weekend. So really hoping that we're going to see some great car counts out there with that brand new class. And I do want to talk about, Bobby, did you see the Cars Tour this weekend over at Hickory? I mean, Carson Quapple wins that. Our man Caden Honeycutt comes in third as he comes home with that race. But man, that was one hell of a man. They had that place jam-packed. Cars Tour, that they are doing something right there. It's I know the new ownership is one thing, but Jack McNally and Keely Dubinsky, they were doing cool things anyway. But that right there, that is badass.
Did you see the ending there in the Pro Late Model race?
Dude, sideways.
With the photographer getting popped right there going into turn number one at the end of pit road. That was rough.
Yeah, a little bit right there as the way that all shook out as that came down to the end. And that's where we go back to. Here's a PSA for all you friends. When you're at the racetrack, pay attention. Pay attention. You never know what's coming at you, and that's including in the pits. When you're out in the pits, there's cars, there's people out there, there's ATVs, there's things coming around. Kind of know your surroundings, because we hate when people get in a bad spot like that.
Yeah, don't stand too close to the fence. We only tell people that all the time because the cars get into the fence.
Yeah,
saw that at 105. I think was one of the videos where we had a sprint car popping up into the fence. So. Lots of reasons to just pay attention when you're at the racetrack, especially some of you new kiddos that are out there with the social media, trying to get the best TikTok video, the best Instagram picture, stuff like that. Sometimes pay attention to what's on the other side of the phone than just what you can see in the little bit of viewing that you have. Trying to take that next selfie or something with you.
That's right. Don't worry. Instead of taking the picture of yourself, take a picture of what you can actually see, because you see them coming at you. That's the most important part right there. Let's go to the hotline for the final time tonight as we check in. As we were talking about, I mean, it's been a loaded program here, and we've had some of the back and forth. And I'm going to ask him straight off the cuff right here, because I know he knows. This is Jamie Campbell. Jamie, thanks for taking the time, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Just relaxing on a Monday afternoon, night.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Jamie, we were talking earlier about the I-37 thing with the carburetors and the factory stocks. I know you have no skin in the game. You weren't involved with that, but you've done this shit long enough to know. A situation like that, to where the rules are written, whatever they are, the track sometimes has to make a tough call. That right there, that's part of the deal with what happened right there.
Yeah, I don't know enough about what that port does.
Yeah.
To say if it was an advantage or not, but I mean, if these guys are spending $1,000 on a carburetor, I mean, it should be legal. But it should. They should check with the track and tech officials before they run it.
Agree.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
So, Jamie, Rodney basically tried to call you old just a minute ago, but
No.
realistically, how long have you been racing, man? It seems like you have been racing a long, long time. How long has it been, and when did you get started racing? I can't even remember.
So I started racing a IMCA modified in 2003.
Yeah.
I-37 back then had the winter tour, so we started in January. All the guys like Henry Witten and some of the Eggbirds and like Hardy Henderson would come down.
Yeah.
Back then, Ray Dorian had a modified. Yeah, it was good times.
Yep.
The guys would come up like Steve Whitaker,
Yeah.
Junior and Senior at that time would come up and race from Corpus. So we'd have 12 or 15 really good drivers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah,
No
but
doubt.
I didn't win a race until 2005 at Pleasanton officially. So, yeah, once I got some good equipment, got Chris Swinson helping me set it up, do some fabrication on the car. I won a race in 05, and I don't think I won another modified race until 2011.
Wow. Yeah.
And yeah, it was good times.
Yeah.
I unofficially won a modified race at Hill Country Speedway on I believe it was Memorial Day weekend, and they were having the Texas Nationals at Waco.
Yeah.
So IMCA said no points for any Texas tracks. So it was an afternoon show, I believe.
Yeah.
And call it favoritism or not, but my dad went out and watered the track. Was helping Yankee with the track.
Yeah.
And watered the track, and then come in and told me while I was in the lineup shoot, he said, "Run that damn bottom." And I did. There might have only been 2 other modifieds in the field, but got a checker flag.
You don't make a shit, man. A win is a win, and I don't care how you get it. I do not care how you get it. Jamie, so I do want to ask you, because you were, and when Bobby's talking about when I called you old, you're not as old as I am. I can promise you that. But you are somebody that can go back and you can remember. A lot of new kids will never even know what the hell we're talking about, but Texas Dirt Speedway. Sitting right there kind of in the back pocket of the old lady over there, or the old lady half mile. But your memories of that place, I mean, it was like that. There was a dirt track before I-37 in the modern day era, right there in San Antonio.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. I was young. I was I think it closed down when I was 12, so I was young. But it was I actually raced go-karts on that track.
Nice.
My dad got with the promoters and owners at the time, and we had the Hill Country Kart Club. Some of those guys would come down and we'd run the full quarter mile in 2 strokes, shifter carts, whatever you brought. And I remember racing that at least one time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then my dad saw Elias Anderson racing a couple nights in a row, and he was in a modified. He had a Skull sponsored car, and it was white with green logos.
Yeah. And
he was so impressed at how good those cars handled that he went out and ordered a Speedway roll cage kit for a modified. It came with every piece of tubing for like $699 or something. Had a local guy weld it together, and he went out and raced.
Yeah.
And with all those guys like Dennis Taylor and Chris Winson and Greg Spreen.
Yeah. Hey, Jamie. So did I see this weekend? Did I see that Elias was at 37? And I think a lot
Yes,
of
he drove a sport mod.
that's what I thought. And a lot of folks they don't realize how badass that dude is, right? It's like they
No, he's badass,
right? You know,
He's racing Trans Am cars now, right?
Yeah, and it goes back.
Yeah.
I take him all the way back to the mid '80s with. I mean, one of my mentors, Jim Pallas. He was a Pallas Motorsports driver back in the day, and it's like you know what when he pops up and then I see him in the Trans Ams, it's like I swore I saw him on the thing right there. That dude is dude that dude's really good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, y'all always bring up the Miller Modified Nationals, and he made it once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
When they had 100 cars showing up.
Yep.
Modifieds.
That's right.
Yep. But yeah, he's pretty. Him and Lawrence and several of the other guys that raced back then were just something else.
That's right.
And they're still racing.
That's right. That's crazy.
So, Jamie, did you ever give asphalt a thought at all, or you
Oh,
always
yeah.
want to have been strictly dirt? I mean, we're talking about dirt now, but somehow, some way,
I remember
I
you,
could say,
buddy.
I remember you racing asphalt.
No, I've never raced asphalt.
Oh, I thought you did.
No.
I thought you ran some
no.
TAMS races or something.
Yeah.
No, I only went out and I never even practiced on an asphalt track.
I'll be damned.
I've only crewed and helped out with some people.
Well, damn. I guess maybe
hell.
I am getting old. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought for sure you ran a couple of TAMS races there at SAS. So,
No.
So why not? Why did
but-
you never give asphalt a try?
It was out of what I thought was my price range.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense. It
out of a lot of people's
And-
price range. Yeah.
it ain't cheap.
Funny story though. The engine that's in my my late model, my dad built it for a TAMS car that we never straightened and raced. So that thing sat in the shop, it covered up for almost 15 years before I fired it back up when I got a late model chassis a couple years ago.
Man, that's how my dad and I would do things. It's like, hey, what's this? let's just put it in and see what happens. I do. Go ahead, Jamie. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say I'm not against crate motors, but I'm just not for them.
Yeah, no.
When I have a motor.
yeah. That's right. That's right. I do want to ask you about another. We're talking about TDS. Another hidden jewel to me that I can recall you, Goliad. Me,
Goliad.
I'm like, God, man, if Goliad, I mean, that was the one. I mean, what
Shady Oaks was so much fun.
Prettier place to race. I mean, talk about your time there at the good old beautiful Shady Oaks Speedway.
Yeah, I guess I started when they brought modifieds back in like 05 or 06.
Yeah.
And I ran a few races, and then it closed down, and then the gym guy from California opened it up and brought modifieds back, and ran there from 14 to 16 every night just about.
Yeah.
And got 2 track championships in 15 and 16 and by participation points.
Yeah.
And it was fun. Every now and then a guy like Mike McCarthy or Joe Spillman would come down from Austin or Killeen or and come race with us. And the track was always really, between that track and Edna, it really taught me how to use the brakes correctly.
I can believe that.
Because they were paper clips. But Goliad was fun, and when it slicked off from top to bottom, it was a very racy track. Yeah. And I'm glad they got to have a couple USMTS modified races before it closed down.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, Jamie, just talk about your late model. It seems like there's all of a sudden, I say all of a sudden, it's been building for a couple of years now, like this resurgence of late model racing, not only just in Texas, but especially down in South Texas. I-37 was really good about trying to make purses a little higher for the late models and getting you guys to take some of the cars out of the weeds or getting guys to buy new cars to raise it. Now you got this American Crate late model deal that seems to be popping up all over the place, and they've got a good set of rules and a good set of purses. So what do you think's led to this resurgence in late model racing in South Texas?
I'm not really sure, besides just they're the used. You can buy used tires for reasonable amounts of money from the touring guys if you have connections. So that helps. And then they're just fun to drive. I don't know what else.
Yeah.
I don't know what other factors are.
Yeah.
And they're basically the same price as a modified to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
There's some little issues that you can you got to maintain more so than a modified, but a modified right now is about the same price as a quality late model.
Yeah. Well, and I think, Jamie, to me, I mean, one of the cool things about the late models is, I mean, because I know a lot of folks, we see it on the asphalt side, but on the dirt side, the common fan, they don't realize a modified, the sport mod, whatever, the difference. I mean, they don't get it. They're all fast. I mean, the whole thing is, but the late model, I mean, you guys get out there and it's like, okay, that's just a badass looking car. And I think that a lot of that has been the resurgence to where folks love it when you guys come on out and race. And talk about some of the guys that are doing that right now. It's you guys are a really top-notch group of racers that are out there in the late models, even if it's a weekly show at 37 or in the traveling series.
Yeah, I mean, there is really good competition. The guys know how to set their cars up for the most part, and you can race pretty clean and close to people without having to worry about them putting you in the fence or knocking you into a tractor tire or something.
Yeah, and
that makes it fun. I mean, so far I've raced 5 nights this year and loaded it on the trailer without any bent panels. So it makes it nice.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, Jamie, a couple of questions before we cut you loose. One, what's on tap the rest of the year? You just going to concentrate on the late model? You going to pull out a modified, or what's on tap for you the rest of this upcoming 2023 season?
I plan on running the modified a few more times this year. I got some engine issues that I got to remedy and check, and then put the front end back together after breaking a ball joint at Cotton Bowl the opening night.
Yeah.
But and then I'm going to concentrate on the I-37 late model points because that's the only place I can race this rules package right now. Mm-hmm. Unless I go race comp cams and try to make the feature.
Yeah. Jamie, I do want to ask you about the modified. I mean, because you're 20th year for you in the modifieds, and that is where I was going back to the tenured. You've done this for a while. I mean, it's we've watched the modifieds in your 20 years watching this because I mean, it seemed like at one point it was all the sport mods come in and it's like, okay, that's the next big thing, and the modifieds are going to take a hit, and they did a little bit, but then they came back. Now here comes the factory stocks, and people are kind of doing that right there. But your time in the modified, to me, old school dirt track fan, the modifieds, man, that's where it's at, dude. I mean, to watch you guys slinging those things over, laying those things over, it's got to be a joy to have done that for so long in those cars.
Oh, it is. I mean, I've raced with I believe 4 IMC national champions.
Damn.
Henry Witt, Keith White. I've only raced William Gould a couple times.
Yeah.
And then PJ Egbert.
Wow.
So it's been fun. It's always great when you can race with those guys, and if you can beat them, it's even sweeter.
Oh, no doubt.
And I think the technology hasn't changed too much in the last 5 years.
I agree.
The crate motor deal has definitely, they're getting every horsepower out of those engines now. Mm-hmm. I remember when first couple guys back in 2015, 2016 would show up to Cotton Bowl, and they didn't really have an advantage. Mm-hmm. And then, but that 2-inch spoiler on the back of the crate motors, it really, I think if we were all on no spoiler or 2-inch mm-hmm. on the modifieds, it would bring the open motor guys would be able to compete on some nights.
Yeah.
Where right now it's kind of a disadvantage, but
yeah.
I still try my best and
yep.
and try to go out there and have fun on the budget we got.
That's right. You just keep showing up, man.
Yep.
Still fun to you, man. You've done it a while. I mean, what is it for you that keeps bringing you back? I mean, I know we see all these guys, they go out there and they do all this stuff or whatever, but this sport's about guys like you that do it for the longest time and just keep wanting to do it and be a part of it. What drives you to keep on doing this shit, man?
I'm not sure what keeps me doing it now. I mean, 5 years ago, I would say the want to win and just hanging out with my friends after the races or before we race and talking, catching up.
That's the biggest part.
It's a neat deal.
Yeah. I agree, my man. I agree. Glad you're still doing it, dude. Thanks for taking the time. And again, congratulations on a great career, man. Talking about everything that you've done right there. I know a lot of folks don't realize it, and you've done it quietly. I mean, you win championships. I have never won a championship, not even been close. And man, you've got plenty under your belt, and that's super cool, dude.
Yeah, the first one at Cotton Bowl was extra special.
Yeah.
It was 2013, so they're celebrating 10 years open, which is a pretty neat deal. And I beat the second place guy by 1 point, and we were racing for the position coming to the checker of the feature the last night. And the first season, I think it was 24 races scheduled.
Yeah.
Every weekend except for a couple holidays.
Yep.
And we raced from March to November 16th or something. It was a long season.
That's right.
Came down to one point.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's a cool one, dude. Jamie, thanks for taking the time, dude. By the way, thanks for the beer when I saw you at Texas.
You're welcome.
Yeah, man, that was good stuff. I swigged it right down. But congratulations, man. Let's do this again, man. It's always fun to talk to dudes like us that do it because we love it. And you're one of those guys. And keep digging, man. We're proud of you.
Appreciate it.
You bet, man. Take care.
Bye.
You bet. There he goes, Jamie Campbell, and that's again that right there, and that's again talking to him. I mean, a lot of folks don't know he's got championships at Shady Oaks. he's got a Cotton Bowl championship. Yeah. I do remember that year. That was the first year we were still blowing and going in Kyle. Actually, that was the year in Kyle. So 2013 at Cotton Bowl, that was still with I don't remember the promoter prior to Marianne. That's how great of a job that they have done that I don't remember.
Danny, what is Danny's name?
Danny
Bennett.
Danny Faust. Oh yeah, Danny Bennett. Yeah, Danny Faust was an offensive coordinator somewhere. Yeah, that's right. So I do remember that was a full calendar that they had, and again, they had a lot of cars, and I do remember that came down to that. But Jamie, Jamie Campbell's been around, and you go back and
I
you
still
look at
thought he ran asphalt.
I thought he did too. I really thought he did. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I swore he did. I thought that he maybe had done like some time in a Sportsman or something like that. But I mean, he knows better than we do.
Clearly, yeah.
But really good stuff right there. Great conversation there with him as really cool. I mean, I love that. I love bringing up all those old memories. Speaking of Crate Motors, before we get out of here, I got to tell you about my friends at Rogers Dab Chevrolet. Those Crate Motors are $602,497. That's 604 that you're looking for if you're going to race in one of those high dollar classes. $7,460. Rogers Dab Chevrolet in Brandon, Mississippi. They sell those GM motors to support racing. They help and we help them, whether it be myself or Mobile or Grant Thompson, all the folks that endorse them to continue to promote racing. That's what we do. RogersDabs.com. Check them out. Brandon, Mississippi, the best price that you're going to find around the country. Feel free to price shop that. A lot of folks have messaged me and said, hey, I heard you talking about them on Revved Up, and I tried to find something a little bit cheaper, and I couldn't find it on that crate. So Rogers Dab Chevrolet, GM Performance Motors. This, I got to tell you, one of the things that I take a lot of pride in this show in, and I know you do as well, is that with the hashtag Real Race Talk thing. We do that when we talk about different things, whatever. But this evening has been something that I am really proud of. what we did with the I-37 thing right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is why we sit here and converse this thing. I mean, this is you guys and all of us just sitting around having a conversation. Bobby and I happen to be in front of the damn camera. I mean, and this thing started out just as a podcast, just as audio. I mean, hell, it's always been live, but that right there is where we can sit here and talk about these things. And this is where, with hot topics or whatever it is, I take pride in that we can sit here and do this. I mean, is there still going to be some conversation on the socials about, that? I'm sure. But the whole thing is we interacted with the people involved, because Brandy was there, and still maybe some question or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we had the main principle in there, which was Ray. And that's why we do this. That's why we do this. That's cool.
And
that's
it didn't
really
get
cool.
planned that way. We didn't.
No,
we didn't call
it
Ray and say, "Hey, we're going to talk about it." We did put a Facebook post out there that we were going to talk about it, but we didn't know when or where we were going to fit it in the show. But
yeah,
I think Ray's been on the show. He listens to the show a lot, so obviously he's gonna when time came up to talk about his little facility and this weekend, he popped on, and that's fine. I mean, that's perfect. That's what the forum is for down there at the bottom.
That's right.
That's what the show is used for, to try to nip stuff in the bud before it goes out and becomes crazy. So, all in all, I think it worked out. It worked out, I guess, as good as it could for everybody involved, minus somebody actually getting DQ'd and tossed out. But
no doubt. Michael Lindsay Motorsports, absolutely, I will take you up on that. I will gladly take one of your beers. That's really cool stuff. Coming up this weekend, lots happening. I talked about Mobile, blowing and going. I mean, we're into race season right now, to where all the tracks, they've got. We're into full-time racing at this point. We're at the mercy of the weather for a lot of this, but it looks like it's going to be another great weekend of racing as we continue to dive in here around Texas and the Gulf Coast. It's go time. I mean, IndyCar. I mean, all of that. So let's go down that road. Let's go down that road. I do want to touch on the NASCAR thing, because that plenty of conversation with all of that right there. The Talladega thing, and there's a lot of folks beating up on not beating up. There's a lot of folks with opinions of everything that happened yesterday, and I sat there and I watched everything yesterday, and I was waiting for. I said it at one point on Twitter. It's like, just wait, everything's about to happen. I didn't think that the conversations coming out of the race today would be what they are, because we're back to the safety thing, and and I'm not downplaying that. As a guy that's had his bell rung, I've been hitting the door before. I watched a dash collapse in front of me. I mean, it hit in a very well-built race car on the back straightaway at Kyle. I'm sitting there holding on. I get T-boned, and the next thing I know, my hands are in my lap because I have no dash. The wheel is gone. The shaft is gone. Everything is gone. I got hit that hard. But here we are again, and we're back to this. And and again, not downplaying it, but I thought we were making progress on that topic.
Well, I mean, it was the shot that Kyle Larson took rocked that cage.
Sure did.
I thought I saw something right before we came on the show that NASCAR is going to reenact that.
They are
that crash to determine some more stuff. Determine if they need to add more bars on that side of the world, on that left side, right side of that car. So that was a crazy deal. I mean, you don't want to see it. I mean, obviously, there's more bars and stuff on the driver's side than there is the passenger. Everybody's like, oh, if that was the driver's side, he would have got killed, all of that.
No.
Maybe not that dramatic. He probably would have got his bell rung pretty good if that was a driver's side hit. But, I mean, that's not something you want to see. I mean, that door bar, I mean, it just,
Yeah.
I mean, Priest said that was the hardest hit he's ever had.
Well.
Which I no doubt. I mean, that in-car camera was wicked.
He was on the gas. I mean, and that, thank you. You just took me to my point. Everyone that and again, I don't mean this when I say everyone that's worried about Kyle Larson, go see what Priest went through. If you want to talk about being concerned about somebody, you should be concerned about Ryan Priest, because we actually saw
not the in-car pointing out to Larson,
his
the
face,
other way. Yeah,
his face.
It blew his visor open.
Go watch that, and then post not downplaying what Kyle Larson went through. No, door bars should not be like that. I mean, I totally get that. Again, they're going how fast?
$180, $185.
And Priest never lit up. There's that. That does not change anything. But if you want to be concerned about somebody and what you saw, go. I mean, you guys that like to get on the keyboard, go find the Ryan Priest in-car video. And if you wanna bitch at me about being a NASCAR or whatever, get me on the Priest thing, and I'll be like, ooh, you might have a point. That dude took a wicked hit. Not that Larson didn't, but his head went forward. Like you said, that visor came off. His eyes are probably rolled back. That was the one that I looked at that, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, that was a rough hit.
Yeah, I mean, it's times you see stuff like that, and me having been through a lot of, not at 180 miles an hour, but having been through a lot, I see these wrecks and my eyes water when I see them, because it's like, oh man, you know what's coming. There's going to be a lot of back and forth right here, and again, I know I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this, because I know a lot of folks are jumping on this because they just don't like the NASCAR concept. They don't like the car. They don't like NASCAR. They don't like the whole thing. And it's one of those things to where this is part of the game. This is part of the game. And this is where I think that you local guys, weekly racers or bi-weekly, you need to see shit like this, and you need to take care of your safety apparel. Because this is what scares me. This is what scares me. I saw some folks posting yesterday to where it's like, that's a good thing about the local track, because you can go in and build your cage however you want it. When you build your cage however you want it, that's how your ass gets hurt, because you're going to take shortcuts. You're going to use it. I remember, dude, back in the day, there were guys using black pipe.
Aluminum. I remember guys using aluminum pipe.
Mr. Wusterhausen died at Texas World Speedway in 1971 because he had muffler pipe in his car, and he hit the damn fence, and the thing collapsed. And this is where I'm going to go back to the hit yesterday with Larson. I truly believe that had it not been the Gen 7 car, if he'd have gotten hit in that car in some generations past, that thing would have folded up like a piece of aluminum foil.
I mean, look what Newman did.
Right. And that's, again, this is a time to really sit back and, I mean, let's just be thankful that these guys are okay. And I saw folks saying that Larson maybe looked starry-eyed. Well, shit, you would too.
Yeah, had the wind knocked out. And for the dumbasses that you saw on social media, this had absolutely not a damn thing to do with Bristol.
No.
He didn't gas it up because he saw Kyle Larson speeding up in front of him. He gassed it up because he thought he was going to clear that wreck. And out of nowhere, there comes Kyle Larson. Had nothing to do with Bristol.
Right.
Not a damn thing to do with the issue they had at Bristol a couple of weeks. Just coincidental.
Right. And for everyone that wants to make it was a big deal. That wants to make a bigger deal out of what could have happened yesterday in that incident. You need to go back to Saturday, because I saw a lot of folks saying, well, I mean, the car, the integrity, all that. That's still a NASCAR car with the crashes that we saw on Saturday.
I think that led to the somewhat tameness of the race on Sunday.
I think so, too. I mean, I saw some posts to where, some folks were saying, well, it's going to be carnage on Sunday or whatever. And our man Doug Rice said...
It was eventually.
It was. But our man Doug Rice actually tweeted out, it's like, it's going to be a different discipline on Sunday. These guys are more accustomed to what they're doing, to where this is where I go back to where the Saturday race with Xfinity has its own identity now, to where it's like, that's that group. You didn't have all the Cup guys in there anymore, and this is not a slight. I mean, the ARCA race was a shit show, but I mean that's
always a shit show.
Not surprising, but I mean the whole thing is this is just another opportunity to take a shot at NASCAR. And again, I am not saying that there are not things that could be done to make things better, but here is what I am telling you is that in the not so recent past, we might be talking about Kyle Larson in past tense. We might be talking about Ryan Priest in past tense, because that wasn't just a normal wreck. That was, I don't give a damn what car you're driving. You could be driving a tank. You're going to get your shit tore up. That was rough.
That's rough. Hey, speaking of shit show, to change the subject, did you get any feedback from your honest revelation there on the Saturday show about your incident? Your number 2 incident.
Actually, I did. I got a couple of messages about that. So you racers, you can talk about this. So shit show is actually the main thing. So you guys that get out there and race, the question came up because we were talking about when you have to go in the car. I mean, whether it be you have to take a leak or you have to do the other. And I mentioned on the Saturday show that a race back in the mid 90s or whatever, I had been to the concession stand at the Speedorama and had a chili cheese nachos or whatever. We're out there racing 50 laps. I'm used to running 25, and the damn race lasted forever because people couldn't figure out what the hell to do. And I shit my pants. And I mean, I admitted it, and I got a top 3 finish, and I couldn't use the driving suit again. I mean, you guys, I mean, these are sort of, I did. I had people laughing at me about that. And I'm like, well, you try it. I mean, have any of you people ever been out on the highway and you have to take a squirt and you're sitting there and you're like 12 miles from the rest stop. And it's like, so what do I do?
The turtle's not going to make it 12 miles.
It's not going to go back into the shell or you have to pee and stuff starts dribbling out. I mean, what do you do? I mean,
you pull over the side of the road if you're 12 miles out. That's what happens.
Well,
but you try not to shit yourself in the passenger car.
That's right. And the whole thing is, I mean, there you go. There you go. Somebody has done it as well. So that I know that I am not the only one, and people may not want to admit. I actually take it. As a complimentary. I mean, something that I did. I wasn't going to get out of the race. Are you kidding me? If I could have gotten to third place, that's $150. It was $150 that I made, and it cost me about a $300 driving suit. I had to buy another one. I was in the red, actually in the brown when it was all said and done. I was in the maroon when it was all said and done. I was a diehard Aggie when it was all said and done. But I mean, that's I mean, I know you have to do it, but it's one of those things because I've done it as well. To where if I'm driving down the road and I have to go pee, and it's a long way. You're sitting there. I've done this on the way to the racetracks, as an announcer, to where it's like, okay, I got to go, and you pull over and you have to go, and you get out of the car and it just comes out.
Mm-hmm. I guess we've all been there.
Can't stop it. And the older you get, like me, I mean, the prostate and all this, no control. Can't control it. No matter what you do, I mean, you just can't control it.
Well, I mean, shit happens.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I can actually say though that now these days it's more the number one, trying to hold that in. But yes, I've pooped my pants in the car before, and that's I wear it.
Which car was that? Of all the cars hanging in the studio, which one was that?
That was the maroon. That was the pink Nova up there, which wound up being that maroon one, the 53. That was that car right there. It was a 50-lap race there at Longhorn. We got in the cars. They called us. It's like, okay, drivers, to your street stocks, line up. You're next, or whatever. The class before us, it took forever. We're sitting there. We were late. We get out there. It's lots of yellows. Yellows don't count. And it just happened, man. It's good nachos, man. Sam Hill nachos.
Sam Hill nachos.
Sam Hill nachos and a chili dog. That's what happens in a Coca-Cola. It's one of those things. But yes, I wear it with pride. But good stuff. Good stuff. These are the things that young Trent Dixon needs to learn.
Mike Knotts, what the hell did I just walk into?
I'm sure he's done it. As long as he's been around, I'm sure he's done it. Mike, you ever shit your pants or pissed all over yourself in the race car? I'm sure you probably have. I'm sure you probably. I don't know for sure, but I'm sure in some of those gruesome wrecks that I talked about, when I talked about the dash caving in and getting T-boned and all that, I'm sure I probably pissed myself that time too, but I just didn't realize it. But anyway, there you go. This is #Real Race Talk. This is the unfiltered part. Unfiltered.
This will be the part you put up on YouTube in a couple of days.
That's right. We'll get that put up there. We'll talk about.
Mike says no.
Oh, Mike, come on, man.
Yeah, but he's used to holding it in those really long cross-continental airline flights. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. Mike's a lot better at that than I am. I'm just, I don't know, man. I poop a lot. Ask my wife. She's like, how can you do that so much? It's like
Too much coffee.
too much coffee, too much beer, too much bad food. It's a lot.
Anyway, stay tuned for details on next week's show.
That's right, because we're going to do this again next week.
Stay tuned for details on the Saturday show. Don't forget you can pick us up on 104.9 FM locally in Austin, or you can stream on your smart speaker or on the Horn app. Just go at your app store.
He's all thrown off.
No,
from the
I was
poopy
trying to throw
comment.
in a good, good sponsor plug for the Saturday show, and I'm all discombobulated.
Well, we may have it right there. Depends. That could be. I saw somewhere that spotters wear Depends.
That's what we were talking about on the show.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. Oh, okay. Well, I heard that somewhere. I guess is a.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, so you posted something yesterday on Facebook about the Alabama gang.
I sure did.
I got to tell you, man, this is the great thing. You folks need to continue to watch the Facebook and the Twitter and the Instagrams and all that, because as always happens, somebody saw the post that you posted and that I replied to and said, hey, you're missing one person. Let me work to help you out. So maybe that's coming. Could be that is coming.
Two of the three of the Alabama gang have been on these airwaves and had a hell of a good time, actually. Donnie Allison, that was a hell of a good interview. And Bobby Allison was good, too. He's brought the only problem that Bobby Allison has is that he's just too damn humble.
Oh, I know.
That's his biggest problem. He's too damn humble because he was out there and he was kicking their ass, went toe-to-toe with the best in the business, and is too humble to appreciate how good of a job he really did and what he really meant to the sport.
Yeah, he. I tell you, all those guys, and it was really cool to see them yesterday to be out there giving the command and all of that, because that right there, and again for NASCAR, and again, I'm going to applaud NASCAR. Did you see those stands yesterday? I don't watch the stands a lot, but I did yesterday.
Biggest crowd since 2008. 08, yeah.
Yep. A lot of people.
And guess who won that race?
Oh yeah, same guy.
Kyle Busch 15 years ago.
Dry streak is gone. Everybody loves Kyle Busch nowadays, and it's. I saw them saying, "Oh yeah, it's because he's changed." No, he hasn't.
I mean, he changed one thing.
His fire suit. That's it.
The decal on the front of that car changed, and now all of a sudden he's an American folk hero.
Yeah, it's like he's different now. He's different. Wait till they stick him in the fence. Wait till somebody spins him out. Yeah, you know, when you're doing really well. When you're doing really well, that tends to make you.
It's easy to smile. Happy. It's easy to smile when you're doing well. It's not hard to smile when you're doing bad.
Give him a piece of shit car one week, and let's see how happy he is and how complimentary he is. He's changed, of course.
And he was pissed when they didn't pit. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time when that carnage hit.
I saw somebody had posted, I think it was during the off season or something, when he was in all the going back and forth. And I think I talked about this somewhere where they were like, oh, I know why he's different. It's those kids. I said, he's had them damn kids forever. One of them, hell's about to start in the NASCAR, isn't he?
7 years old.
Yeah, and the other one, I mean, it's like he's had kids forever. That ain't nothing. And it was he got married.
He been married.
Dude's been married to her forever. I mean, hell, I recognize her more than him these days. I've seen her for that long. She looks the same. He doesn't.
We still need to find out that girl that Denny Hamlin was with at COTA.
I know, we do.
That's our assignment for this week. Find out who that was.
I bet the person that kind of gave me some. Never mind. But anyway, hey, this has been a fun show. We've talked about everything. We've talked about young drivers. We've talked to Justin Whitehead, the legend right there, the driver slash promoter, everything. Talked to Jamie Campbell with all of his success right there in championships that I bet you people didn't even know about. We even talked about shitting our pants. That's how good this show's been.
Well, we didn't talk about shitting our pants. You talked about shitting your pants.
Well, you know, it's one of those things. It's all good. We're a team, but dude.
All right, I guess we are a team.
You'll have to shit your pants on the show one day to make up for it.
I guess so.
Yeah.
On the way home, have an extra taquito.
Stay tuned next week. Bobby's going to shit his pants live on this show.
Yeah.
Right here.
Bring a change of shorts.
Stick around. Repost it. That's the only reason to watch next week.
I got nothing to close that one.
We may be giving you a really cool reason to check in next week. Thanks to all the folks that checked in that were guests on this show. Thanks to all of you for being a part of it. You guys keep it real, and we do this for all of y'all, the fans, the listeners, the watchers. That's what it's all about.
That's what it is all about. It's about having fun, talking racing, and having a good time.
Hashtag Real Race Talk. We're back next Monday. Hashtag Unfiltered. Hashtag Show Day. Tell your friends. Catch the rebroadcast at RevvedUpSportsShow.com. Y'all have a great week and a great race weekend.